Hello, everyone. My name is Morgan Locke,
My name is Carolyn Monroe.
and we're with Community Action to Promote Healthy Environments.
Let's get started.
In this video, we will be presenting part 1 of the Air Quality Monitoring Workshop. This workshop was designed by the Community Action to Promote Healthy Environments Partnership, or CAPHE for short. This slide shows all of the partners who are members of the Community Action to Promote Healthy Environments Partnership. This workshop was developed by CAPHE for people working to promote clean air in their communities through the use of improved air quality monitoring. Our goal is to teach you to use available data to inform work to promote clean air and improved health. Here's the agenda for this video. First, we'll introduce the concept of air quality monitoring, talk about some common air pollutants, and explain their health effects. Then, we'll talk about air quality limits required by federal law. Towards the end, we will talk about how air quality is measured and reported, and we'll leave you with the link to a demo for airnow.gov, where you can explore air quality in your area. At a later date, in part 2 of this presentation, we will go into more detail about what air quality monitoring networks are, how they measure important pollutants, and air quality monitoring websites where you can learn to get the best data for your area. Let's first answer the question, what is air quality monitoring? Air quality monitors measure pollutants in the air. They can be used indoors or outdoors and have many purposes, such as informing regulatory standards or informing community advocacy. The purpose of this video is to introduce you to the reasoning behind air quality monitoring. In future sessions, you can learn how to use other air quality monitoring platforms from local, state, and national organizations. Our hope is that learning how to use them can positively impact your work.
To understand why and what we monitor, let's start with air pollution as a whole. So what exactly is air pollution, or how do we define it? Air pollution can be defined as a mix of hazardous substances from both human and natural sources. Scientists have been studying air pollution for a long time and have built up a large body of evidence that air pollution is linked to many health outcomes, including cancer, asthma, dementia, cardiovascular or heart disease, and poor birth outcomes. Air pollution also causes environmental damage through acid rain, thinning of the ozone layer, damage to crops and vegetation, and is an important contributor to climate change. We will break down air pollutants into 3 categories based on the ways they affect our air and climate. I'm going to talk about criteria pollutants, toxic pollutants, and greenhouse gases. The first of these are criteria pollutants. The Environmental Protection Agency sets National Ambient Air Quality Standards, or NAAQS. These standards state the allowable amount of a pollutant that can be present in the air based on scientific evidence about the levels at which each harms public health. The criteria air pollutants that are covered by the NAAQS are sulfur dioxide, or SO2, nitrogen dioxide, or NO2, lead, ozone, carbon monoxide, and particulate matter, or PM. Of the 6 pollutants, particulate matter and ground-level ozone are the most widespread health threats. States monitor the levels of these air pollutants and report them to the EPA. If an area is not in compliance with the NAAQS, as with the dark blue areas on this map, the states and EPA will work together to lower levels below the standard. There are many other air pollutants that are not regulated by the NAAQS, which we are also concerned about due to their effects on health, which you will see on the next slide. Congress has specified 189 different toxic or hazardous pollutants that are relevant for health or the environment under the Clean Air Act. Unlike the criteria pollutants, these do not have any set limits that are considered safe. These come from things like diesel exhaust, chemicals that use aerosol, and factories. A few toxic pollutants are listed on this slide, organized by whether they are considered to be from local sources, whether they affect larger regions, or whether they are global. The photos on this slide show a truck emitting diesel exhaust, an aerosol can illustrating the propellants known as CFCs, which were found to deplete the ozone layer, leading to a ban on their use in aerosol cans and other products, and so-called Zug Island, a heavily industrialized area in Detroit known for polluting the surrounding air. We will talk more about the scale of air pollutants later in this module. For now, we'll just introduce the idea that toxic pollutants can be relevant locally, regionally, or globally. A third category of air pollutants are the global greenhouse gas pollutants. Greenhouse gases are gases in the atmosphere that trap heat near the Earth's surface. Some of these, including carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and halocarbons, stay in the air for long periods of time and continue to build up in the atmosphere. Others, like methane, can remain for medium periods of time. For methane, about 11 years. The third category are short-lived and include carbon monoxide and non-methane volatile organic compounds, or NMVOCs. Although these have short lifespans in the atmosphere, they can have a large impact on global climate change. The main thing you need to know is that these act differently than the pollutants that we're focusing on, but they are still considered a category of pollutants. In this video, we're just going to focus on monitoring some of the major criteria air pollutants, that first category we talked about, like particulate matter and ozone, and the health effects that are attributed to these pollutants. To wrap up, we've learned that air pollution is defined as a mix of hazardous substances from both human and natural sources. We also learned that there are three categories of air pollutants: criteria pollutants regulated by the National Ambient Air Quality Standards levels, toxic pollutants that have no safe levels, and greenhouse gas pollutants that trap heat in the atmosphere. In this video, we are mostly focusing on criteria pollutants, ozone and PM in particular. Next, we'll talk about some of the concerning health effects of air pollutants so that we can start to understand how pollution sources and health are related, especially in Detroit.
We know that there are many different types of air pollutants, and they are linked to many impacts on our body. The way they affect health is complex and not completely known. Essentially, some of the particles make their way through and past our airways and our lungs and into our bloodstream to travel throughout the body. They can have many harmful health effects, as you will see on the next slide. PM 2.5 and ozone are the most widespread and damaging pollutants. They are linked to COPD and lung cancer, breathing problems, cardiovascular disease and high blood pressure, headaches and anxiety, and reproductive impacts. Thank you for watching Part 1A of this workshop. To summarize, we've learned that criteria air pollutants are monitored according to the National Ambient Air Quality Standards, or NAAQS, set by the Environmental Protection Agency to protect health. Two of these pollutants, ozone and particulate matter, are the most relevant locally and have the most known impacts on health. Be sure to watch the next video linked on this slide, Part 1B, to learn more about air pollutants in the city of Detroit.